I welcome you all at the third edition of Sustainable Water Management Series, a conclave series organized by APAC News Network in support with Ministry of Jal Shakti, NIVA, and supported by Schneider Electric. This water management conclave series has been aimed at bringing all the stakeholders from the water ecosystem together to discuss and deliberate upon various aspects of building that comprehensive water ecosystem throughout the country and to make eco-friendly water warriors where government, industry all can come together and uh, create awareness on the importance of water conservation, water management with a special focus on innovation and technology. And here we are here today in the Guwahati, in the beautiful state of Assam, where we are focusing on building sustainable water network together. This is the third edition of this conclave series. The first edition was held virtually, where we focus in Government of India. The second edition, where we focused virtually in the state of Tamil Nadu, with a special focus on Chennai city for its water management and wastewater management. And today, we'll be focusing in the state of Assam. What are the initiatives being taken in the state of Assam in terms of water management? What kind of thoughts are there vis-a-vis technology innovation for water and wastewater management? And what kind of perspective can be shared here in terms of making Guwahati smart city sustainable when it comes to water management? And for that, we have got eminent speakers with us. Let me first invite Dr. Lakshmanan, Managing Director of Guwahati Smart City Limited. A big round of applause for him. We welcome Dr. Lakshmanan. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have with us Mr. Bishwadeep Das, Special Secretary, Public Health Engineering Department, Government of Assam. We welcome Mr. Bishwadeep Das. Thank you so much. I request you to come on stage, please. We have with us Mr. Arkul Shinoy, Segment Head, Water and Wastewater, Schneider Electric India. We welcome Mr. Arkul Shinoy. Please come on stage, please. Huge round of applause for him, please. We will be joined by Mr. Syedin Abbasi, Additional Chief Secretary, Water Resources and Public Health Engineering Department, Government of Assam. He'll join us shortly. But I request all of you to give a round of applause for all our eminent speakers who are representing the government bodies and as well as the industry. I request my colleague, Ms. Shivani, to welcome all our eminent speakers with a bouquet, please. To Dr. Lakshmanan S., IS, Managing Director, Guwahati Smart City Limited. We welcome you, sir. To Mr. Bishwadeep Das, Special Secretary, Public Health Engineering Department, Government of Assam. To Mr. Arkul Shinoy, Segment Head, Water and Wastewater, Schneider Electric India. So without taking much time, I'll request Dr. Lakshmanan S. to share his thoughts on the importance of technology and innovation for effective urban city water and wastewater management. Over to you, sir.
A very good afternoon to all dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, eminent experts in the sector of water conservation, sustainable water utilization, especially in urban sector, and of course, the organizers of this program who had taken beautiful effort to make this possible, make this event to happen, and the sponsors, Schneider Electric. I was just going through the profile of your company in Google only. I mean, why I am telling this is because, to be honest, I just joined today, 30-40 minutes back, as MD in Guwahati Smart City. And this is my first program, official or unofficial, first meeting related to GSC. That is Guwahati Smart City program. So then you can very well understand how much can I address, how much can I give as a keynote address. So please really don't expect that I will be able to tell exactly what we are doing. Therefore, I have two of my team members along with me today. Sri Chandradwaja Singha ACS, he is with Smart City for now, recently for a month or so, and also Mr. Tapan Das, who is the Chief Project Officer of Guwahati Smart City Program. So obviously today we have also come with the open mind to learn what are the best practices followed all over the world, within India, maybe within Northeast, and what all projects are suitable, maybe doable also, feasible in Northeastern area because of various reasons we have, and what are the best technological adaptations made across the world, because some of the problems what we have might be there in other parts of the world too. Now, with this open mind we are present here, we will be going back definitely rich with the knowledge which we will gather from you all. At the same time, I would like to mention one or two small points here. I had been fortunate to work in Guwahati Municipal Corporation few years back as Joint Commissioner of GMC, as well as Secretary to Guwahati Jal Board for about an year, again 5-6 years back. At that point of time, JICA water supply project of Guwahati was happening. Like now, it is almost coming to the conclusion maybe. And at that point of time, I was looking after the water supply under Guwahati Municipal Corporation. I'm just sharing some of my experiences. Don't take it as a keynote address and all. Point was that this 45 MLD Guwahati water supply scheme, when it came in late 1960s, that was the biggest water supply scheme in the northeastern part of the country. 50 years back, or no, 60 years back, at that point of time, somebody envisaged that, and that water supply scheme was good enough for Guwahati for quite a number of years until Dispur, GS Road, all these development happened, and the area became much more bigger than what we thought 50-60 years back. Now, JICA project is coming up, which has huge water intake capacity, water processing, water purification, and water distribution system. But with all these things, the city is also growing. Whether we can always get a reasonably good source of water, let us say Brahmaputra or some other source, take that water, clean it, distribute it, and what will happen to the sewerage which will come out? Simply treat and release it, or should we go for recycling? So there are multiple aspects which relates to sustainable water cycle in an urban area. In rural area, of course, there are different methods. I think Abasi sir would be the best person to talk about how Jal Jeevan Mission envisages water supply in rural area of Assam, and how much have been already done and what is the plan for the coming days. At the same time, we shouldn't forget the fact that Assam is still one of such states where our rural-urban population distribution is almost 83-84% in rural area and hardly 15-16% in urban area. But the consumption of water in urban area will be much more compared to the rural area because of multiple reasons, and the cost of that water also goes up. So when we are talking about sustainability, it is not only the simple availability of water and also the cost of having that much water available. So considering all these facts, with such behemoth, such expert companies who have been in this sector for quite a number of years, have completed more than 30-40,000 projects of water supply, I am sure all the participants here will be having their own opinion, their own expertise, and their own vision how this can be done in a city like Guwahati. So looking forward for your valuable inputs. Thank you all, and once again I thank the organizers and the sponsors for organizing such a program with which we all will be benefited in the coming days. Thank you so much.
Maybe you have taken charge today, but the thing is that as a policymaker, you have got vast experience. Maybe you have taken charge today, but as a policymaker, you have got vast experience, and what you've shared with the prior experience, it's of utmost importance. And as you have said that this knowledge sharing platform has also been envisaged, keeping in mind that the best of the minds come together and discuss and deliberate upon the various problems when it comes to managing water effectively, wastewater, and again, how technology innovation can play a pivotal role in that. That has been the aim of organizing this series. Uh, I know you have a busy schedule, but I'll request you to just stay back for 10-15 minutes. We have a industry perspective from Arkul Shinoy of Schneider Electric. I'll request Arkul if you can give your presentation, and then we'll move to Mr. Bishwadeep Das. Over to you, Arkul Shinoy.
Can you start this? Okay. Well, can I get this lapel mic? Well, thank you, Mr. Lakshmanan. In fact, we really appreciate the fact that you just joined this morning, 30 minutes back, and you're here. What matters is really, the curiosity and the open-mindedness, and the fact that we've all gathered here to understand the different facets of sustainability when it comes to water and wastewater. Also, thank you, sir, for joining us here. We also have the special secretary and the additional mission director for Jal Jeevan Mission. Additional mission director, sir, is that correct? Okay, special secretary, PHE. We welcome you too, sir. Thank you so much for your time, and we would love to hear your views as well and your inputs, your expertise. We were talking offline a little bit, and we would like to get more views from you. So let's quickly look at some of the key aspects of what India as a country is. We are about 2% of the landmass, 16% of the world's population, a huge livestock, but just 4% of the water resources. That basically brings out the kind of contrast that we have. Large population to support, very little fresh water that we have. What also happens is that while we have, in states like Assam, which is, rich in terms of rainfall, etc., so you probably feel the effect of water scarcity a little less compared to the other states. But overall, when you look at the country, which is India, we in fact rank 133rd among the 180 countries from a water availability point of view. And most of our surface water is polluted. And if you go by the UN figures, in fact, by 2030 or so, we will face about 50% of water deficit. So that is the kind of scenario that we are talking of. This could be, this is also exacerbated by the fact that, the rainfall patterns in India and the weather patterns in India are rapidly changing. So unless we get on top of the situation and understand, what is happening and where do we need to control, this could easily go out of hand. So the intent today is to see what are the technologies that are available, how can we make it happen with the help of technologies that are available today, and how can we work together, the industry and the government and the administrators like you, to make sure that we are on top of the situation and we are well in control of the situation. All right, so quickly taking you through the sustainability cycle, as we call it. Now there are 5, when we look at the water itself, we divide it into 5. The water resources, which are basically, the rivers and the associated, the ocean, rivers, etc. Goes into water treatment, water networks, wastewater treatment, and then, it is either circulated back. It invariably circulated back, but where is it circulated? Whether we dump it directly into our water bodies, or do we use it, gainfully and put it back into the circulation? That is the whole question. And like Mr. Lakshman, you rightly said, the question today is that of how feasible is it, to put it back into the, in the circularity. Now, in another 10, 15 years, this may not be the question. This may be a requirement, right? So the whole answer lies not just looking at today, but looking at the future. and how do we see the whole ecosystem working? So in alignment with that, there are three, SDGs, as we call it, Sustainability Development Goals, which have been defined by the UN, 6, 9, and 11. 6 basically talks of clean water and sanitation, including in rural areas, which again we are addressing through programs like Jal Jeevan Mission. SDG 9 talks of building resilient infrastructure, promote inclusiveness and sustainability, etc. Now, this is especially true for urban areas. So this is making sure that we have the right kind of infrastructure for water, wastewater, etc. And then SDG 11, which intends to make the cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. So our effort is closely tied with these three sustainability development goals, and we will address the entire question of sustainability as we move forward. All right, so the challenges, if we can put it in 5 buckets. One is the access to safe and adequate water. I wouldn't say drinking water alone, because water is consumed by humans. Water is also required for economic development, right? So water to every household, adequate quantity, water to the industries and peripheral activities, water to irrigation, which in fact consumes about 80% of the available water today, right? So that's the kind of challenge. And while we are challenged to do that, we also have capex constraints, which means to say that, for with the kind of budget that's available, we have to make this happen. While we'll come to the third one, while we have to ensure that there is adequate ROI, because at the end of the day, there is an investment that's going in. And while there are social objectives, you also have to make sure that the private players who are in it, to attract the private investment, etc., it has to be sustainable. There has to be a ROI that gets generated. Then you have the question of bringing on board the right kind of, right kind of resources, the right kind of talent, etc., so that the entire thing is managed well. And of course, the fifth one, which is at the heart of everything that we do, which is monitoring, right? Which is at the heart of understanding what is happening. Right, monitoring for better decision making, especially when we are talking of a geography like India, where we need to understand. For example, there are targets on non-revenue water. There are targets on ensuring equitable water distribution. There are targets on making sure that the available water is made available to the different stakeholders, and so on and so forth. So what we, in fact, intend to do is to actually bring the assets, operations, and people together along with the resources, and tie them up in an ecosystem where we are sustainably able to manage them all. So if you look at these systems today, we are here where some of the utilities have embarked on the basic automation and stuff, where they monitor their systems, their plants, and this is limited to individual assets. So it could be plants, it could be networks, so which are individually monitored and managed. There is instrumentation, basic instrumentation, there is automation, and there is probably SCADA that goes in. What we're talking of is really moving up the value chain here. Into advanced management, where we talk of process optimization, where we are talking of asset optimization, where we are talking of planning, integrating the commercials, and so on and so forth, and then eventually moving to the next level, which is contextualization, tying together of everything, that all the assets together, bringing in the contextualization, and bringing in the end-to-end visibility, and ultimately bringing converting the data into something which is intelligible, which helps stakeholders like you, the city administrators, the government, etc., to take the right kind of decision. And again, we don't expect the system to take the decision. The system will give you that kind of intelligence where you can then take the right kind of decisions and move forward. So this is precisely what we will be discussing in detail. So look, this is where we look at if you look at a typical layout, you have the water source goes into water treatment plant, then it is supplied to different areas, which comes out as wastewater, which, right, so, and then it is circulated back. So when we look at individual pieces, it is a siloed management. When you bring it all together, this is when you get a, sorry, you had a question, sir? Yeah, sure, please. You can see, this is not working. Anyway, while you, yeah, sure. Okay, so with the situation that we have, we are talking of, so if you have treatment plan, it's department managed by some department. If you have networks, it's managed by some other department. If you have urban, urban setup, it is managed by some other department. You have multiple municipalities for different towns, and so on and so forth. So there is, today what happens is it is managed individually at an asset level or at a area level. Whereas the need today is to move, take it one step forward and look at the complete picture holistically, and then take a decision based on the different parameters, including the financial parameters, which are, again, important to run a sustainable organization, even from a municipal organization, as far as you are able to match your revenues, income and the outgo. That is again something which an integrated management, water management system would do. A little bit about the smart water solutions. In fact, what you see here, right at the bottom, are the assets. It could be the water sources, it could be the treatment plants, it could be the different things that the utility manages as assets. Now these assets are then integrated with our, the first green layer that you see there. These are called the connected products, where it could be, for, at the pumping stations, for example, or WDP, you have the electrical systems that come in, the AV panels, the LV panels, the field instruments, and so on and so forth, which is then connected to the edge layer, the second green layer there, which basically talks about SCADA, which talks about the asset management software, the asset advisors, and so on and so forth, which is then integrated onto the topmost layer, which is nothing but the IT/OT integration, right, where the data is pulled in from the SCADA, data is pulled in from the field instruments, data is pulled in from the different advisors, and it is processed. There is analytics which is run on that, and it is put in a contextualized format, so that there are intelligible decision-making points or decision-making data that comes to you. It's not just data, it is the processed data where, on the basis of which you can then take a decision. The beauty of this is that this is not it's not one size fits all kind of situation. So there are different levels within the organization. For example, there are operators who want to see different kinds of, different kinds of data, or they want to see, it's more functional for them, right? Or it's more operational for them. Then you move up the chain, you have, the chief engineers who would be interested in looking at different parameters. Again, the interface for them is different. Then you move up, you have the commissioners, you have the MDs, etc., who are more interested in the more overall functioning of the assets of the network, and so on and so forth. So you move up there. And then you have the governmental agency, the government itself, who would want to look at, some large parameters on to make sure that their objectives, the key KPIs, the social KPIs, etc., are met. So when you move up to the third layer, that's where you get, and when we say contextualize, it means it's tailored to the situation, it is tailored to the person who is accessing it, and hence, there are different, kind of interpretations of data that depending on what is it that you're handling, you get it. All right, some smart water, offers or capabilities that we have, and we have divided it by subsegments. Now, if you look at the plants itself, there we talk about efficient process control. We talk about reducing the energy or increasing the energy efficiency because, treatment plants, the plants is all about, so these are energy guzzlers. You have pumps, you have motors, etc., which take up a lot of energy. Then you have, if you talk of wastewater, there is a increased requirement of regulatory compliance. You have to report on the discharge quality, etc. Now that's something which gets done. Then there are predictive management of assets. Again, what is important is not to just set up the treatment plant alone, but to make sure that these treatment plants are delivering. There is continuity in service, and to make sure that if there is any breakdown that is likely to happen, you get to know of it beforehand, and there are remedial measures that are put into place. And then, of course, there are other capabilities such as monitoring for greater monitoring for stormwater challenges, for example. When we come to wastewater network, we have, for example, in the networks, we have the possibility of predicting flood risks, the blockages, etc., in the urban drainage system. Then we have transmission networks where, again, we can look at leaks and bursts, right, which are major concerns, which, again, carry the risk of discontinuity of service. Efficient water network management, including pressure, including quality, including service impact, and so on and so forth. And then, of course, the energy-related items. When we come to the water distribution network, and especially the urban water distribution network, NRW is a big concern, right? So most of our cities, in fact, have the NRW level to the tune of about 30 to 50%. Now the challenge is, one of these sustainability requirement requires us to have a control on the NRW parameters, and it could be because of leaks, it could be because of different reasons. Now, how do we bring that? How do we identify it, and how do we bring it under control? So we have those. We talk of those solutions as well. Desalination is little less relevant in this part of the world, so I'll not talk much about that. So overall, if you look at the theme here, we talk about analytics, we talk about predictive management, we talk about addressing specific concerns such as non-revenue water, we talk about predicting leaks and bursts, and hence giving you those intelligible data with the help of which you can then manage them before it actually happens. Right, so a view of what is called as the UOC. Now, all of this data comes on to what is called as the Integrated Command and Control Center. We call it the Unified Operations Center, where you can bring in the quality, quantity, consumption, asset data, and so on and so forth. You can also bring in the logistics data, the data which is related to the availability of spares, and all those things, your human resource data, your financial data, all of that can be integrated to bring a holistic view in terms of managing your water assets. Now this, what can then be done also additionally is optimization, whether it is plant optimization, network optimization, water network management, energy performance management, and asset performance. All of this can be done sitting at the control room or from your respective offices. Okay, so, another view of how the building blocks are, some of you would relate to the the meters here that we talk about. So all of this data is then pushed on. So SCADA is what we talk about today, but SCADA is limited to one asset. SCADA is limited in terms of its capability, as in it's a monitoring tool. When you want to run the analytics, you move up, and when you want to integrate it into a smart solution, you move up the value chain. Okay, so Unified Operations Center helps in terms of creating contextualized, context-driven actionable information, making faster, more informed decisions and speed crisis response, minimizing risk to people, assets, and operations, reducing energy and operational costs, and optimizing performance and reliability of services. So this is what the complete water management integrated with the Unified Operations Center can give you. I have a small video which we'll play, which demonstrates the capability. Let me do this.
Aviva's Unified Operations for Water is your single unified view for managing your water district's operations and performance. Coupled with Aviva's industrial enterprise software, the Aviva USD for Water provides a starter template allowing for the deployment acceleration of your water management solution. The Water Operations Template Illustrated is a starter framework allowing for our customers to modify and tailor the solution to accurately reflect their assets and operational processes. From the home screen, you are presented with a geographic view of several zones that make up your water district. Displayed at the bottom are overall district KPIs showing production cost and demand. Prevalent throughout the solution is the use of Slidos, which provides additional dashboards or aids in the navigation. At the home screen level, the Slido shows additional KPIs and operational metrics for drinking, waste, and stormwater. Similar to the home screen, the drinking water summary shows drinking water specific KPIs along the bottom of the screen. The Slido shows zone-specific capacity and volumetric information. Also showcased here is the use of our Sankey diagram application. The Sankey diagram can be used to show a connectivity model between assets where the mouse over shows flow or volumes between them. Using the breadcrumb navigation, we can select treatment and are presented with a high-level view of the treatment process as well as treatment metrics along the bottom. The Slido displays water treatment specific KPIs such as dosing and chlorine demand by zone. Schematic level displays can also be presented as shown here for disinfection. The Slido shows a plant-specific dashboard. If required, control panels or faceplates can be used to directly control field equipment as shown here with the component. Drinking water distribution shows overall zone-level KPIs for storage and pumping. Used commonly throughout the solution, as shown here in the reservoir summary, is the Aviva's Content Presenter application. The Content Presenter automatically displays data in context based on the structure of your asset or object model. Water leak metrics are shown by zone. Clicking on the map reveals zone-specific details. The tabs positioned at the top and bottom allow for navigation between zones. Here in Zone 1, we can use the Slido to show a metering area summary and further drill down to meter area 2, showing regional information such as minimum night flow versus standard flow. The pump station summary shows power usage and efficiency by pump station. Selecting Station 2 provides a schematic view of that station. The Slido shows a pump summary. Selecting the Slido a second time shows running hours where you can drill down to see data for a specific pump. The wastewater section provides reclamation and distribution KPIs. If available, a video feed can be presented directly from the UOC displays to show live video for a location. Navigating to the treatment dashboard shows treatment-specific views and dashboards. The alarm summary from the home screen by default shows all the alarms. Using the buttons on the top allows for alarm filtering by process. Microsoft Teams can also be integrated directly into the solution, allowing for users to chat directly with subject matter experts or other members of the team. Also shown is Aviva Insight, which aids in the analysis of your time series data on a web or mobile device. Aviva Teamwork is used for team collaboration, where a user can identify and can also look up procedures and training material relevant to their specific role. With Aviva work tasks for incident management, incidents can be raised and tracked through escalation and completion as required. A summary of incidents is displayed, and incidents can be auto-generated based on alarm thresholds defined in the system. This concludes our brief demo of the Aviva UOC for water. For further information, visit us online or contact your Aviva sales representative.
Thank you. So you've seen the capabilities of VOC in terms of dashboarding, in terms of giving you the contextualized, decision-making data. You've seen how analytics helps you. You've seen how, with the click of a button, with the single interface, you can raise queries and the issues, log tickets, and get the resolution done. So quickly moving on to some of the success stories, and I'll take about 5 minutes here. So the first one is really the Eastwater Thailand, and it's a mix of some international references and Indian references. So the Eastwater Thailand is a large utility in Thailand where they're the largest supplier of untreated water. So they are specialists at transmission, pipeline, etc. And we've helped them out with our offers, with the help of our EcoStruxure-based smart water solutions, where we've helped them with reduction in 10% of water loss, about 15% in the energy cost, and about 30% increase in operational efficiency. The second one that I'm talking about, and this is a showcase really, this was one of the earliest projects that we've done in the country of UK. It's called the Anglian Water. Where the customer challenge was, so they were looking, to reduce the NRW. Now, UK is also a reference when it comes to NRW, but they wanted to further bring it down and be a benchmark within their own country. And they wanted, the cost of the leak detection to be brought down and so on and so forth, to be more predictive so that they can address it even before it happens. They wanted to meet their regulatory compliance, etc., and we helped them out with our water management suite, our automation, etc., to help them achieve their results. The third one is in Spain. It's called the Aqua Novara, where the customer really wanted operational efficiency as a priority. They wanted to increase overall water supply performance, reduce the water supply loss, and so on and so forth. There were regulatory compliances that they wanted to meet. Again, they banked on our solution, our EcoStruxure-based smart water solutions, to deliver that. The next three examples that I'm going to talk about are closer to our home. This is the first greenfield smart city in India, the Atal Nagar, then called Naya Raipur Smart City. Here again, we have worked with the, so we have provided our solutions here with the intent of increasing the efficiency of operations and management, advanced unified dashboarding to improve situational awareness and operational readiness, and immediate access to critical KPIs and reporting data in the field. This is a showcase project in India. If any of you are interested, we can take you there for a visit and see how the things are functioning. Now, this is not a standalone water. This was not just a standalone water solution. It was integrated with a complete city controls, including utilities, including transportation, and so on and so forth. And water was one piece of it. In fact, this is the kind of dashboard, the complete citywide integrated command control center that you'll see. Just a glimpse of that. The next one is Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai, the largest municipality in the country, in our country, where they basically wanted a scalable system where they wanted to bring their existing networks to monitor them and efficiently manage it, and make it ready and scalable for the next set of innovations that they're going to bring in. So again, they relied on Schneider Electric smart water solution. In fact, utilities like MCGM, BWSSB, etc. A lot of these automation and IoT solutions are Schneider Electric solutions. Dholera Smart City, this is, Dholera, this is a part of the Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor where we again have partnered with them to provide us smart water solutions to help them manage their water resources. The last one that I'm going to talk about is the tube well controls, and in the JJM, a lot of these projects, the single vision village schemes, are all tube well based systems. So this is the tube well automation scheme that we have, where we automated the tube wells, about 157 numbers. We provided the monitoring, real-time monitoring, energy optimization, reduction in O&M expenditure, basically, and web and mobile access, so that people can see what's happening on the phone or on the laptop. Some references that we have for plans, for treatment, for water treatment plants, for sewer treatment plants. Now, this is not an exhaustive list, just the major ones that we showcase. There is a long list of projects that we've done. If you're interested, we can always share that with you. So these are some of the references. In fact, some of the largest sites, such as the 900 MLD water treatment plant in Bhandup, runs on Schneider Electric solutions. With our solutions, through our innovative smart water technologies and services, we promise to help make water safe, reliable, sustainable, and efficient across the entire water life cycle. Just to give you a glimpse of the organization, so by now you'd have known it's called Schneider Electric, and we are spread across the globe, right? We are about 29 billion euro organization, and India is the is the third biggest hub that we have for Schneider. The best part is that we spend about 5% of our revenues on R&D, so that we can bring customers like you innovative solutions to help you make your life simpler, to help you manage your resources well, and basically to help from a sustainability and resiliency point of view. In India, we are spread across. In fact, we have, and this is a truly Make in India spirit that we're talking in, right? So we have one of our major R&D centers here in India. We have several manufacturing locations in India, which cater to both the local market as well as for the exports. We have supply chain offices. We have, of course, the front offices, the marketing and the sales office, and so on and so forth. So pretty much what we sell in India, most of it is made here in India. Some glimpse of the factories that we have. And we have, we are specialists at segments. We are focused on 8 core segments, where we bring the segment expertise, we bring in the integrated architecture, we have the right kind of people to address it, we have the global delivery and the lifecycle services to support it. So there are 8 key core segments, like I said, and water, wastewater is one of them. And till date, we have about 40,000 odd installation. Now, this is from 2020. The data is from 2020, and it would have been much more by now. So some 40,000 installations that we already have across 120 countries. So we are specialists at managing, to help you manage your assets, your resources, and to make the journey a really sustainable one. Thank you so much. We are available for any questions. We would love to partner you and understand how can we work together to help you with your mission of sustainability. Thank you.
Thanks, Arkul Shenoy, Segment Head Water and Wastewater for Schneider Electric India, for a detailed presentation on what is the total scenario of water management in India, be it for urban areas or for the rural areas. What is the scenario for water and wastewater management scenario in India, again for the urban and rural India. What are the challenges and how technology is helping them to overcome those challenges, what Schneider Electric is doing, and also with some examples from abroad and also from Indian perspective. That will surely help us all to know more about Schneider Electric and their offerings for water and wastewater management solutions. So we had a perspective from smart city, we have a perspective from industry. Let's have a perspective from the government on Government of India and Government of Assam's flagship schemes when it comes to water management. Let us all give a big round of applause for Mr. Bishwadeep Das, Special Secretary, Public Health Engineering Department, Government of Assam, who will be sharing his thoughts on what kind of initiatives are being undertaken in the state of Assam when it comes to water management vis-a-vis the Government of India schemes like Jal Jeevan Mission and Har Ghar Jal and other things. Over to you, Sri Bishwadeep Das.
Thank you very much. So at the outset, let me thank APAC. Today I was discussing with Mr. Sobhik Goswami, right? Okay, yeah, sorry for getting your problem. That whom should we thank? He said we can thank everyone, Ministry of Jal Shakti, can thank Snyder. Then I asked him, whom should we thank most effusively? So he said, in that case, you can thank APAC for having organized the event. So thank you, APAC, for having organized this, and thanks all your partners, Ministry of Jal Shakti, everyone, for organizing this very important subject, which will sort of influence the quality of life in this millennium, and will sort of make or break many societies also. Unless and until we respect water, we use it sustainably, and do not waste it, and sort of recycle water. In that case, in the long run, we, as a country, as a society, because as we've always seen, the quantum of water available in our country, not really so our state, is limited. Now, just on the face value, it appears that actually Assam has got plenty of water. It does have. But if you scratch the surface, that you'll find that there are a lot of sustainability issues in the long term: water security, water quality problem, delivery of water, because here, like in Assam, we have many natural barriers. So covering a community, big community, geographical obstacles is many a time very difficult. Now, we may be rich today in terms of water resource, but like any rich man, if he squanders his resources, he is doomed to die poor. So maybe for the rest of India, it is time to pull up your bootstraps. But for Assam, at least, we have to be sort of plan for our future, because what's been happening in the rest of the country, rest of the world, can as well happen in Assam. Because rainfall patterns are changing. Many of our rivers are sort of like forest-fed rivers or rain-fed rivers. The discharges are falling. So whatever the scenario now could very well change after 20, 30 years, unless we plan for the future. Now, regarding Jal Jeevan Mission. In Assam, like in the rest of the country, Jal Jeevan Mission is one of the very important initiatives of the Government of India, which aims to provide potable water to each and every household at a rate of 55 LPCD of a prescribed quality, and with a prescribed pressure, minimum pressure, as well as regularity. In Assam, our approach has been small schemes, small groundwater-based schemes, covering maybe, say, 150, 200, 300 households. This has been done with an eye on the the maintenance, operation of the maintenance schemes, how community can take ownership of it. Because earlier we have found that running big schemes is difficult because the communities do not really identify with, it becomes nobody's business. Of course, if it is a river source, surface source, then reasonably big schemes are inevitable. But if it is small, what we call groundwater sources, then we can always go for small schemes. And we have found that whenever the schemes are small and the community gets water on a regular basis, then they take ownership quickly. I won't say that actually the community is taking ownership without any effort from our side. Because in many households, you can say in the state, everybody has our own source of water. So when we build a water supply scheme, unless we add value to the water supply system, people are not interested in taking a water connection for us. By adding value, I mean we're giving good quality of water, then we give them with regularity, with the right pressure. That is adding value. And then it also should be seen as an amenity. We can encourage them to take a sort of a house connection in the kitchen, in the bathroom, so that they appreciate the quality of, appreciate the services being extended. On the other hand, a lot of IIC work also has to be done, because people actually don't really sort of realize that even if I have a hand tube at home, I spend at least 600 to 700 rupees, or maybe 1,000 rupees also per annum for maintenance. It happens inevitably. So it may not happen the first year, but if you add up the overall expenditure in the 2 or 3 years, it adds up to 800 to 1,000 rupees. So once people realize that, or once we make people realize that, then only people will pay. Because if we give water connection to everyone, and unless and until everyone bears the expenses, and if each and every household in the state is covered, then the maintenance cost would be huge. And that cannot be sustained unless and until every household pays. So that is the challenge in Assam, because many people are not willing to take water connections by paying, because they are not used to paying for a resource which is deemed to be free from nature. But that is the challenge. So in states like Rajasthan and all, just making water available at the doorstep is a huge, it's a sort of huge achievement. And people is assured that people will accept it with folded hands, which is not the case in Assam. But in one more case, so far as sustainability, what I mean when we talk about sustainability, it is not just about the availability over a period of time. It's also about the quality, our ability to sustain the quality over a period of time. So that is equally important to do with sustainability. Then again, the longevity of water systems which we construct, I mean that has to do with water sustainability. Then again, wastewater also comes into the, ultimately this is a sort of a holistic subject where water, wastewater, disposal, they all sort of complement each other, and they have to be managed in a holistic manner. Now in villages, as the source of waters increase, so there will be a generation of a lot of grey water. So if the grey water is disposed without proper, in a methodical way, so that can give rise to stagnant pools of water, then which may be breeding grounds for germs and mosquitoes. But again, on the other hand, Government of India has been prescribing that we should make certain arrangements for grey water to dispose it either in the form of soak pit or kitchen garden, or collecting it from multiple households and having a centralized sort of a treatment unit. But how do we do that in Assam? Because in Assam, the households are scattered, and during the rainy seasons, the quantum of runoff due to rainfall is many hundreds of times more than the grey water which is being generated. So for around maybe 6 months to 8 months in a year, in Assam, many parts of Assam, grey water management makes no sense. Now regarding black water, of course, nowadays we have toilets with leach pits where the black water is largely confined. Now talking about wastewater treatment. In Assam, none of our towns have any organized sewer networks. So whatever wastewater is generated is discharged into the what they call municipality drains, and which ultimately drains out into some water body. It could be a river, it could be a lake, it could be anything else. Something which is not preferable. But on the other hand, unless and until we have a organized sewer network, a sewerage scheme, the what you call the question of recycling or treating wastewater is not possible at this point of time. Here the only point we can take comfort in is that because the level of industrialization in our state is not very high, and on the other hand, because of the rainfall, the pollutants get diluted to a great extent. So that's why the overall impact on our health is limited up to a certain stage, though no one can say it doesn't matter. Now, regarding technology, no water system can be successful in a larger scale without technology. Monitoring technology with respect to monitoring tools, then ensuring proper quality of the water. So that is important. Just as in urban areas, in rural areas too. But in rural areas, it may be just a sort of a monitoring tool only, as a data acquisition only. So in urban areas, we talk about SCADA, which is about supervision control, as well as data acquisition. But for rural areas, for JJM, we are, like the rest of the country, we are thinking of IoT. So IoT will be mostly about the soft part of it, the monitoring part of it, data acquisition. We won't be having any sort of like devices on which this will, because most are small schemes. So now, having in Assam, once JJM is implemented by the year, say, if at all it happens by 2024 as targeted, there'll be around, say, around 28,000 schemes across the state. So those are huge numbers. So how do we ensure that, or how do we at least know whether all these schemes are working or not? So the ministry has also come up with a plan which has started taking off in most states. We are just on the verge of starting, where we have some what we call devices, IoT devices in all the schemes, where with respect to monitoring of the residual chlorine, then maybe we have some extreme edges, we have some pressure meters, flow meters to measure the flow. And in that way, we can sort of like analyze whether every households are getting water at the right rate. And to enable that, we were thinking of having a centralized data center, and each of these schemes will be having devices which are compatible to the overall architecture of the what they call operations part. We can have multiple operators, and there will be some sort of a OPEX CAPEX mix, like, so that at least for 3 to 5 years, whoever installs those what they call sensors will have to also maintain them. So that's actually easy to say, but I don't know, like, it will be very difficult to what they call execute and maintain. Execution is okay, fine, done. If you pay them, someone will install it. But maintaining over a long period of time will definitely be difficult. So that's a challenge, but that's also required. So one more thing we can just say, like the spin-offs we get out of that. Now we are actually designing our schemes for 16 working hours. Now we cannot afford to have two what they call operators in each of the schemes, because the economics don't work out. And with limited level of sort of IoT, we can ensure that the pumps run automatically with some level sensors and all. It can be easily done. So there are positive spin-offs where we can sort of substitute or complement the what you call efforts of the local manpower in giving water sustainably and continuously. Now, with respect to quality and sustainability, in Assam, one more aspect is the quality of water in many places are sort of like deteriorating. If we say, if we sort of like map the number of fluoride habitations that we had, we find that these are on the rise. So this could be for various reasons. This could be because maybe because even in Assam, we are using more and more water of groundwater. More and more of what we call fertilizers are also being used. So maybe some what we call contaminants are leaching out from the substrata. And if that is the case, over a period of time, this could rise. So as we all know, in the Northeast, including Assam, has among the highest rates of cancer in the country. This could be because of some genetic reason. This could also be because of the type of the quality of water which we are drinking. So that is also known because not sufficient study has been done about it. But even water could be a suspect. So these issues has to be also done. We have to ensure a very robust testing mechanism on a regular basis, which is also as per the mandate of the ministry, so that we can have a sort of a oversight on the emerging water quality pattern in the state and take remedial actions accordingly. So I'll wind up here. So basically, this is how we are implementing Jal Jeevan Mission and our approach and what we plan to do. And also about the lack of wastewater treatment in our country. Because say for instance, not a country, in our state, say Guwahati. Guwahati is deficient of water. But many people find it difficult to believe because the Brahmaputra flows right across just along the periphery of the city. But most households in the city are dependent on groundwater, which is rapidly depleting. Because here we basically have perched aquifers, some strata issues are there. And we have water in many places available only in what you call in hard rock, in the fractures of hard rock, where water discharge power, transmissivity is not very high. So here is a sort of a scenario which is unlike the rest of the Assam, of the state. And here actually we really require what we call organized sewer network. And even in the periphery of the town, there are many industrial areas coming up. They use a lot of water, and which are also being depleted. So ideally, as the city grows, we should also plan to have a proper sewerage management system, wastewater treatment, wastewater recovery, and technology therein, so that the quality of water recovered will be fit for use in any industry. So that type of future planning has to be done, but that's in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bishwadip Das, Special Secretary, Public Health Engineering Department, Government of Assam, for touching base upon the realities of the scenario of the state when it comes to water management. And as Mr. Das was saying, that I can see, I think you'll all will accept my point of view, that I can see there are a lot of opportunities where state government of Assam and industry, a company like Schneider or others can collaborate. As Mr. Das was saying, there are a lot of challenges, but those challenges also brings in a lot of opportunities to transform the state in terms of water management. And collaboration between government agencies and industry is going to play a very important role in future. And as Mr. Das was giving the practicality of the aspects of water management, he talked about that Many may think that Assam is water surplus because of rains, Brahmaputra passing by, but you never know. 30 years down the line, we may find that in Assam, there is scarcity of water if we don't manage water that properly. And that has been the aim of organizing this series, that think about the future, start thinking today itself, because time is running out. We can see the effects of climate change happening world over. In India, we see that their report has come that at least 5 cities, between 5 to 20 kilometers of radius, the cities will submerge. That cities are Chennai, Bombay. So think about it in the next 30 years or so. So with the adverse effects of climate change is here. Let us accept the fact and let us do our bit to make the future more greener, more sustainable, and water management itself is a very important part of that. With this, I come to the end of this Sustainable Water Management Conclave series, the Assam chapter. I would like to thank all our esteemed speakers who have been part of this session. Dr. Lakshmanan S., Managing Director of Guwahati Smart City Limited, Mr. Bishwadeep Das, Special Secretary, PhD Department, Government of Assam, Mr. Akul Shinoy, Segment Head, Water and Wastewater, Schneider Electric India. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I would also like to thank our partners to make this Sustainable Water Management Conclave series happen. Ministry of Jal Shakti, NIUA, Schneider Electric, and I'm sure that in coming months, we'll be having more of the editions of this Sustainable Water Management Conclave series. Thank you so much. Take care. Goodbye.